Hey everyone, Gender Queer Chat. It's Jo, Fridays with Jo. I'm back. I really want to thank Cole for filling in for me while I was gone. I did manage to squeeze in one video over the last three, but yeah, I'm back. So I was on vacation, had a great time, very refreshed. This week's topic was selected by me from a list from a channel that I wasn't actually aware of, but one of our new members, Sid, is on it. It's called, I think, Out Late But Great, something like that. I'll have to get the link and put it below, but it looks like a really good channel. You should subscribe to that one too. And it was just about bullying and what you thought, discuss bullying and the It Gets Better project. First off, I just want to thank all the new people. I love the new people. I miss the old people, but I love the new people. The new people are awesome, and I was thinking we need to have... did you ever watch Beverly Hills 90210 back in the day? It was this stupid ass show in the 90s, and at one point the guy worked at the Peach Pit, and they had this Peach Pit after dark, which was like they were trying to, I don't know. I think we need a Gender Queer Chat channel after dark. What do you think? With all the new people, so everybody gets to speak, even those who are on the sub list waiting patiently. Okay, so yeah, the topic this week was bullying, and it was interesting. I had a very long talk with a guy at work about this today, and I have a lot of kind of musings on the subject. First off, I don't believe I was the subject of bullying when I was younger. I did not fit in. I was not popular. If anything, I was ignored, and I remember being a youngster in grade school and high school and not fitting in and being... for instance, the grade 8, I guess they call it 8th grade in the US, we call it grade 8 in Canada. The grade 8 graduation, which is elementary school, and then you go on to high school in grade 9. A girl had a party, and every single kid in the grade 8 class, except for me and one other girl, were invited. So we were the only two not invited. And I remember being very, very, very upset about it. Being neglected or treated as an outcast. Never overtly, never, no one ever said to my face, "We don't like you, you're not invited." It was just very... understood that I wasn't invited. And I don't know why that was. Well, I mean, obviously I didn't fit in, but I'm just going to tilt this down a little bit. I wanted you to see see that? I can't do this. Right there. That's my anonymous mask. I'm part of Anonymous. Anyway, the hacker group, but whatever. Not the hacker, I'm the anti-Scientologist. But anyway. So I was never overtly bullied. As time went on, it kind of... Okay, so flash forward many, many years. Where I currently work, we recently had some sort of anti-bullying seminar. There was a professional activity day where we could go and take courses on whatever, and one of them was a workshop on bullying. And I took it, and another guy in my department took it. We were the only two computer technicians, the rest were secretaries, and it was funny, because when they announced at the beginning, they said, "Who's the biggest bully in your life? We're going to teach you how to deal with bullies." And they said teachers, principals, parents, or students. And they were kind of, because most people in my place of employment work at a school. I don't. And I don't deal directly with parents or students or teachers, really, for that matter. And it was kind of weird, because when they came around the circle to me and they said, "Who's the bully in your life?" I said, well, actually the reason I'm here, and interestingly enough, the other reason the other guy from my department was there, is we consider ourselves bullies. And I know I have it in me to be a bully. I have very strong opinions about things. I have very strong opinions about weak people. I find wimpy people a little bit hard to handle, and I don't deal very well with them. I'm sometimes very curt with them, and that is bullying. I'm a big ass bully at times, and I recognize that, and I strive very, very hard not to be that way. But I don't know. I looked for resources online. Google, "I'm a bully. What can I do? I don't want to be anymore. What should I do?" Google these words. Google how not to be a bully. You come up dry. There's nothing. There's no resources out there for people who are bullies or who feel like they have bullying tendencies. And you know, I've done a lot of soul searching over the years and wondered what it is about me that that makes me this way. I can think of one particular woman at work who's got a lot of personal problems. She tends to bring her personal problems to work and dump them out on the table, and she's hard to handle. Nobody wants to hear about it. Everybody rolls their eyes when she comes into the room. For many years, I didn't even speak to her. I was very rude. I would turn and walk out when she walked in the door. I remember one day waking up and looking in the mirror and realizing that I hated the way people in my department treat one another. That's my biggest complaint about about my job. And I looked in the mirror and I realized I was equally to blame, that the way I treat people in my office is just as bad as the way they treat each other. So I stopped it. I knocked it off, and I started talking to her. It's not easy to be friendly to people that you don't particularly like, or people that have very different views on life than you. It's not easy for me to be soft and kind to people who display weakness. Usually when people display weakness or indecisiveness or don't stand up to me, I guess because I'm very argumentative, and I like a healthy debate. I like a very spirited debate, and a lot of people are not like that, especially in the workplace. I mean, it's not really appropriate anyway. I'm the first one to say that. But people don't necessarily want to have a debate with me, and I kind of see that as a character flaw or a weakness or whatever. And then I guess I have I give off an attitude, or I give off a vibe that they're kind of crumbs on the floor to me, or dirt on the bottom of my shoe. And I wish it wasn't that way. I don't know how not to be that way. Of course, I strive every day to be a better person, and I think I've succeeded in many, many ways. I really do. I think I've come a long way on that front. But it's not natural for me. As it pertains to gender, let me just see, how am I doing for time? Geez, I should speed this up. As it pertains to gender, I think maybe because I am a female with a really, really, really big mouth and a very healthy attitude, a very healthy in-your-face attitude about things, that people don't generally cross me. They don't try and cross me. They don't pick on me. People tend to pick on weaker women. They tend to pick on weaker men, wimpy men. Bullies tend to pick on the weak. That's the way it goes. And I don't, I guess, come off as weak, so I don't typically get picked on. And I recognize that. I recognize that it's fluke and it's luck that I'm not picked on, and that tables could turn. It could have been me. It just happens not to be me. The It Gets Better campaign, I have mixed feelings about. Obviously, I think it's awesome for the purposes of inspiring and encouraging young people, or even older people, but specifically young people, and letting them know that there is a community out there of older people in the LGBTQ world who have lived to tell about it, and it does get better. I'm living proof that it does get better on a lot of ways. But I think for some people it does not get better. I'll be dead honest with you. I think it does. For some people it doesn't. Krista recently, if you guys were ever subscribed to Tranny Star Galactica, which is one of my favorite YouTube channels, one of the regular weekly contributors, Krista Easter was her last name, committed suicide a couple of months ago, and it was very devastating. We were all very devastated. However, we saw it coming. She had suffered with crippling depression for many, many years, and was very candid about it, and talked often about her inability to cope some days. And for her, it didn't always get better. It got worse. It got worse to the point where she took her own life. And it was funny, because after she died, a lot of people posted videos, tribute videos to her, that were not really tribute videos to her and her life at all, but rather encouraging young people to not follow in her footsteps, and to say that it does get better, and never could try, suicide is not the answer. Whereas my personal belief is, I can only imagine what it's like to live with crippling depression, and have meds not work, and to have therapies not work, and to have to deal with this. I think there comes a point where for some people, and in some instances, it doesn't get better. And I don't fault anybody. I would never, ever, ever criticize anyone for making the decision to end their own life if that's what they felt was the only solution, the final solution. And the best story I can give for that were the 9/11 jumpers. I always had a very interesting attachment to them. Whenever stories of 9/11 came about, it was the people who were on the 110th floor who jumped that day. And I've always been very compelled to tell their story. Even though I don't know who they are or what they did, I do know that morning they went to work. And if you'd have told them that they were going to jump off the 110th story of the World Trade Center, they would have said, you're crazy. I would never in a million years do that. An hour later, you're faced with option A and option B, and option B is the better one. And so for a lot of people, I think, who contemplate suicide, option B is the better one. And you can't understand what option A is. The only thing you can even remotely liken it to is the flames behind you on the 110th floor. So I don't criticize people for their internal struggles with depression and suicidal thoughts. However, That being said, if you're being bullied, if your problems are external, if the reason that you feel bad about yourself is because people are treating you like shit, that's a whole other ball of wax. It does get better. It really does get better. If the demons are in your head, that's a different story. If you're being bullied because of who you are, or your gender expression, or your sexuality, yeah, there's a whole world out here of people who really do thrive. It's not, you don't have to live in confusion, and you don't have to live, in isolation. I want to give a little shout out. He's probably not watching, but I have a little friend named Taylor. It's my friend's son, and I've known him since he was 12, and he's turning 18 this summer. And he just came out, and I'm so happy for him because he has a very loving dad and stepmom. And it was, we all kind of knew he was gay, and we were wondering when he was going to just say so because, he was one of those kids, he was born gay, you knew it off the hop. And so sure enough, his Facebook picture this week is a picture of himself with a sign, and it says, "I am gay," and he's given it the big thumbs up. So I'm so happy that he's growing up in a world like this, where he gets to be out and proud at 17. I'm so happy for him, and I'm so happy he has a family that loves him. And that's the point of all this, is that it does get better, and over the generations, it's gotten much better. It's gotten much better for young people to come out early, to come out to their parents. He brought his boyfriend home to Dad the other day. Dad said he's a sweet and loving guy. He says, "Oh, I love his boyfriend. He's awesome." And I thought, you guys are awesome. Because, oh, by the way, Monday's my birthday. I'm going to be 39. So, 20 years ago when I was 19, half my life ago, it wasn't so easy. And 20 years prior to that, in the 70s when I was born, it was not that easy. And every year it gets better, and every year it gets easier to be who you are and express yourself. I was at work today with having a very long and in-depth conversation with Oscar, my Congolese friend, and he was telling me how he was hazed when he was about 17 or 18 in university, and he said horrible beatings. He said he always fought back. They shaved his head, but it wasn't done in good fun. It was cruel and mean and horrible. And we were just talking about bullying, generally speaking. And one thing he said to me that was pretty cool, because I'm a pretty nonviolent person. He said, "Joe, you have a very aggressive way about you that's not physical. It's everything but physical. It's verbal, and it's an in-your-face attitude that puts people off or scares them sometimes. And you have to be aware of that's not, just because you don't punch people in the head doesn't mean you're not aggressive, or you don't have aggressive tendencies." And I was very, very humbled by those things. And I said right away, as soon as he said it, "You're right. I know you're right. You don't need to tell me twice. It's true. I'm not a fighter with my fists, but I'm a fighter with my spirit." And that can sometimes lead to being a bully. And I keep it in check every day I can. I'm aware of it. These anti-bullying campaigns have worked insofar as I'm aware of it. I don't like to be that person. I really don't like being that person. So, and in light of the fact that there's no resources available online, I do the best I can by just, stuff like this. Hearing the stories of people who've been bullied, and understanding that sometimes the things you do and the things you say, they roll off your tongue easy, and you walk away and you don't even think it made an impact on their life. And you bullied them, and they were very hurt by it and very impacted by it. So it kind of forces me to think before I speak. Okay, catch you guys later. Hopefully we'll have a Peach Pit After Dark session. No, I'm kidding. We'll talk to you. See you next Friday. Bye-bye. And I'll be 39 next time you see me.